Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guests are Dr. Shar. She is a chiropractor, and Andrea Bosco. Both of these ladies are founders and CEOs of the Empowerment Project. How are you ladies doing today?
Very good.
we're gonna talk over each other here.
Yeah.
How's your morning so far?
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
And like I was telling you earlier today, it is what it is. I have very little to complain about.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, thank you both so very much for being here. I know it's taken us a while to get to this point, but we're finally here and we finally get to do your episode. So I'm very, very happy to have you both here today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. So, Shar, you have a BA in psychology. And you are a practicing chiropractor. How on earth did you go from psychology to becoming a chiropractor, and why did this transition happen?
Okay, so you're starting with the full loaded questions, right? From the get-go. Okay.
We're jumping right in full force.
Jumping right in full force. Okay, well, it's been a really long time. I don't think I've ever been asked that question, and nor have I thought about it in such a long time. But if I can say anything, I would say that my interest in human behavior has always been a very innate part of my being. So even as a young child, I was always very interested in helping my friends and advising them. So psychology for me was a really big interest when I went to university, just because of the whole aspect of human behavior.
Okay.
And the chiropractic aspect was more because I'd always been very interested in natural healing and health and wellness. And for me, chiropractic was the best way to tap into the human body's potential. And, with chiropractic, it's, I've always found that it's never been just a physical thing for me. It's like, you've come in with low back pain. It's been more of what are you eating? And what sort of stresses do you have in your life? Like, those are always very common questions. Like, no one's looked as a part when they come into the office. They've always been looked as a whole. So I was actually really lucky because I was able to marry the two passions that I've had in life. Okay.
That's a heck of a lot of schooling, psychology, then back to school for chiropractic care.
Yeah. But, I've enjoyed it. I've really enjoyed the journey. I mean, I'm not going to say that it was easy especially financially.
Yeah.
But I am going to say that I really enjoyed my educational journey every step of the way.
That's awesome. Now, you do a lot of work in the business sector, developing wellness programs, as you mentioned, health and wellness. How did you get into working in the business sector, corporate world, doing that? And why did you decide to take that route with your business?
Well, when I initially started practicing, I had bought a family practice with somebody. And what we decided to do was, initially it was just, let's go into these corporations and let's market our family business, like our family practice.
Okay.
And then what happened was we found that a lot of companies were actually looking for wellness programs for their employees that they could establish on site. So for us, it was a natural step. Like, so my partner took care of family practice and I dove into the corporate world, which I absolutely loved because it was such a great space for me to learn, how businesses are run. And again, that whole idea about human behavior and how people actually function as units and teams within corporate settings, how that affects them physically, because that's what ended up happening. I ended up seeing so much of these mental stresses show up in people's bodies physically. So that's how we started. And I never wanted to leave after that. That for me was, huge that number one, we were able to set up on site and
Mm-hmm.
help people right there and then give them what they needed, whether it was chiropractic or massage therapy or whatever it was. But
Mm-hmm.
then also for me to dive into some of those mental stresses and how they showed up physically in people's bodies when they came in for their adjustments.
Okay. So, I mean, I come from a corporate background, and I know when I was in that world, they would have wellness fairs and things like that at the place where I worked. Is that the type of thing that they would do, or would you just they would book appointments and have you come in and take care of certain employees on certain days, or how did it work for you with
So
that world?
initially it was the wellness fairs, right?
Okay.
That's how we actually got into the company. So
Right.
are you looking for a chiropractor to come in and be a part of your fair? We can educate your employees. So that was really the initial contact that we had
Okay.
with human resources. And then from there, I would talk to human resources and say, listen, there's a really big interest.
Mm-hmm.
How would you guys feel if I came in once a week and I saw patients on site and they were so open? Like, again, they were really starving to be, starving in the sense that they wanted to be able to give their employees something that they could do on site. And as you know, if you work corporately, the health and wellness area within companies was booming. Right?
Yes, it's exploded. It has definitely exploded.
Exactly. Corporate wellness. You hear it all over the place.
Yes.
So, we just got in, or I just got in at the right time, I think. And I've been doing it for 13 years.
Okay. Now, Andrea, you've worked in the corporate world as well. You worked a different aspect of it. You're a marketing professional in the corporate world. How long did you work in that field of work before making the switch to become a certified yoga instructor? How was your experience working in the corporate world?
Yeah, so I had a great experience, I'll be honest. So I worked 11 years,
Okay.
2 years at a big broadcasting network.
Okay.
I was young right out of university, and then 9 years at a marketing agency.
All right.
The marketing and advertising world, especially when I was there, and I know it was even better before I was there because I heard all the stories.
Yeah.
But I did feel like I caught a glimpse of that. Great camaraderie with your peers, like the perks. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of, I hate to say, there was a lot of money. There was a lot of money by advertisers. Like, things were going well in the early 2000s, and it was booming.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of work to go around. They were very generous with your salaries and your perks. And I went to some of the most amazing restaurants in the city and got taken on trips. Like, it was a great time in my life to be in that world.
Okay.
And I say that because I don't think I can do it now. Because now that I'm in a completely different place in my life, with a family and just different mindset, I know it wouldn't work for me. And I think it has changed, of course, since I was there, but definitely at that time was really fun.
I think it's hard to make that shift when you've gone from the corporate world or working for someone to become an entrepreneur yourself. I think it's very, very hard to go back to working for someone else. I mean, if you have to, you have to because of whatever reasons, but I think it's a very, very big shift. And I think it's hard to handle that type of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I often think about, I don't know if I could work for someone else and kind of have all the politics and, granted, I had wonderful bosses and that really wasn't the issue, but it's still, you're still kind of put in this box that you have to stay within, and you have your roles and responsibilities. And, I agree. I don't think it's an easy transition.
No.
If you have to make it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what prompted the change from marketing to yoga? That's quite a vast one end of the spectrum to the other, so to speak. I mean, how did this happen and why yoga?
Yeah. So in my early 20s, I became a student of yoga.
Okay.
A really good friend of mine was taking classes by one of the oldest teachers in Canada, I'd like to say, definitely in Toronto. He's still practicing to this day. He's in his late 70s.
Wow.
Yeah, his name's Axel Molema. He's amazing. So he would rent out space throughout the city, and it's kind of drop-in classes. So I started taking classes with him in my early 20s because I was having some issues dealing with stress, and I had some health concerns that had come up. So I thought, let me try this out. And I just was hooked.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very traditional way of teaching yoga, and he incorporated philosophy and discussions about personal development. And it was really so much more than a physical movement class for me.
Okay.
And even though that's what initially got me to the class, I knew I realized very quickly that I needed this for my life. And so from that, I just became so much more interested in the philosophy, in reading the books and learning so much more about the ancient principles and just living a better life through the principles of yoga, which are principles like any other,
right.
Be kind to one another and, all that stuff. So, so then after I had my first child, and I returned back to work, and I didn't even take a full year off because we were so busy at the office and they needed me back. So I rushed back to work and worked really long days, came home, barely saw my daughter before she went to bed, and was just running this rat race. And in my office, I was the first employee in a very long time to have children. So we were all in this just, newly married, no children yet, or, there was older employees that had already had children a long time ago. So I was the first. So I felt like I was paving the way. I struggled with, do I stay longer at work? Do I go home? Do I call in sick because my daughter's sick? It was lots of pressures in that sense. So I started to realize that, I don't know if I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And not only from the work-life balance perspective, but I found what I was doing was no longer serving me.
Right.
And I felt the call to help, to serve in the humanities, to give of myself, to give of my talents in a different way. And working in marketing agencies, you have various clients that you represent and you help, sell their products. And a lot of the companies I was representing were completely against my personal values.
Right.
And so, as you start to develop in your personal growth and in your mindset, you start to notice these things. And, what do I stand for? I'm having children of my own now. And what do I want to show them? What kind of example do I want to show them? So on a whim, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to just start taking my certification slowly, just even to deepen my own practice.
Right.
Not really to take it anywhere. And then within 6 months of me starting, I was fired from my job.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was, wow. It was crushing, to say the least. There were some things personally going on with my family, and we had lost some business at the office, and I didn't see it coming. Let's just say
blindsided.
Yeah, I was very blindsided, but the crazy thing is the day I walked out of that office, I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And so many people relate to that feeling. And I knew intuitively that the universe had bigger plans for me.
Yeah.
And I was asking for it in like so many other ways, but I was way too afraid to take the leap. I was just comfortable and, financially and, your job, you just go through the motion.
Yeah.
But
you're like a drone, a robot.
Exactly. Right. And so, it's just funny how the universe works. Sometimes you get, I often say you get the pebbles that get thrown to you. You don't listen. You get the bricks thrown at you, and then you hit the wall. And so I had to hit the wall and be literally pushed over the edge for me to make
it. Is that feeling though of that weight. I mean, I didn't get fired from my corporate job, but I left on my own. But even just, it was scary as hell. Building up to even giving my notice, it was really scary for me. My stomach was in knots for weeks, but when you do leave, that weight is just like, oh my gosh, this feels so good, because I was miserable for the last 4 or 5 years, that whole corporate environment, and I was always thinking about my photography business and not being there. I mean, I loved my job for the first 7 years, loved it. As an audiovisual technician, getting to play with all those toys and do all this stuff and be in that environment. And you get caught up in the security of everything, and it's comfortable, and you just end up going through the motions. And then it's like, oh, I really got to get up and go to work today. I don't want to be there. And it just transforms into this whole other thing. But then when you do walk out that door, it's like, oh, it's just incredible.
And you don't realize it till you do it. But the fear leading up to it is insane.
For sure. Yeah, it's crippling. It can be crippling.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So there's quite a few parallels here between your lives in terms of going from one career path to a totally different career path. But now you're both in the health and wellness world, and now you've come together on the Empowerment Project. It's quite interesting. How long have you ladies known each other?
It's so funny because we were just asked that question on Wednesday when we were out doing a presentation, and literally Andrea and I sat at the front calculating. No, when was it again?
Because it feels like lifetimes.
It does feel like life. So like, has it been 6 years? Because it's probably 6 years ago that we were asked that question. But like, is it 6 years? Is it 5 years? And it turns out that we've known each other for 11 years.
Wow.
For 11 years. But you would never think that. Like, we feel like exactly what she said. Like, we've known each other forever.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now, how did you ladies meet?
Yeah, so this is a fun story, too. Actually, it was a friend of Andrea, someone that she went to high school with and has been connected with since high school. She did she's a massage therapist, and she did some corporate work. And I got introduced to her through her cousin. And so when I was talking to her, I was thinking, oh, maybe she wants to do some corporate work. I can hire her. And it turns out that, again, it was one of those things. I sat down with her and I'm like, this has nothing to do with corporate.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with wellness. This is us reconnecting from past lives, because it was unbelievable how much we had in common, how comfortable we were with one another, and how we were really able to sync with one another, and how our dreams are so similar. So anyway, she said, I really want to hold a book club, where we can bring a wonderful community together of women. And if you want to join, they're more than welcome to, but where we can bring, we can read books to elevate our spirit and elevate our soul, and, really feel our purpose and understand the journey that we're on. And so anyways, she held her first book club. And she invited me, obviously, and Andrea was invited, obviously, because they'd been friends and had known each other for a very long time. And and Andrea and I, again, it was one of those things, Andrea and I kind of gravitated to one another.
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody in the room, but Andrea and I kind of gravitated to one another, and we just started talking. And again, it was one of those feelings, like, I feel like I had known her for so long, that her ideas and views on life and where she wanted to go. Sometimes I would feel like she was in my head talking. So it was one of those things. It was a book club. It was 11 years ago at this book club, and it's been magical since.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, you both, obviously, you have your own separate businesses, but you also now work together. You started this business together, a platform for science-based mindfulness called the Empowerment Project. Can you tell us how long ago you started this business?
So this started about 5 years ago for us.
Okay.
So 5 years ago, we started having that conversation with respect to our background. So, we've always been very attracted to the idea of taking mindfulness to children, and our idea of, mindfulness would be awesome for kids, but wouldn't it be even better if we were able to give them the science behind it? Like, what if we were able to tell them what breathing does to their brain, or if they're grateful, what it does to their brain, right? Because kids are so smart.
Yes, they are. A lot smarter than we give them credit for.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And so the kids don't just do things because they have to. They want to know why.
Yes.
And, good for them for being inquisitive and diving in and not afraid to ask questions. So that's sort of how that idea came together. But why don't we put together a science-based mindfulness program that we can take into schools, elementary, high school, whatever, and get these kids started on this wonderful journey at the age of 10, versus, 38, 40, where we were starting.
Right.
So that was it.
Cool. So what was the inspiration behind, like, when you guys first got together and started talking about doing this, what was the inspiration behind it? Where did it all come from?
Yeah. So when her and I met and had this cosmic connection, one would say, it was really, I started saying how I was taking my yoga. Well, she knew I was doing my yoga instruction way before that, because we had met before, but all the stuff I was learning, I said, I just would really like for children to learn about this. And we'll get to how we kind of expanded outside of the schools as well. But it started really with this idea of bringing it to children. And so because Shar had such a great background in the science, it's like we married the science with, like, the physical with the metaphysical. Right. And blended our two passions together. And so that just made for a really good union, and it made sense. It made sense for us.
That is very cool. Now, how did you come up with the name for the business?
So I think we were trying to figure this out yesterday too. We're like, when did we decide on that? And really the word empowerment was just something we both spoke about, like saying, I want to empower children. I want to empower people. And we want to give them this strength of knowing that they have the power, that it's within your power. So this word empowerment and power was always buzzing around. And then project, because we were going into schools, initially we had schools on the mind. We thought it was a good fit, because in school you do projects. And as well as part of our book club, the very first book that we read was called The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin, which is quite a good book, really good for kind of beginner self-development kind of thing, if I were to say. I mean, not to say that it's juvenile or anything, but it was a really good place for us all to start when we were getting into reading of this topic. So we liked the ring of the Happiness Project, and so we chose the Empowerment Project.
Okay. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit about the project? Like, give us a brief overview of the business, how it all works, what exactly it is about, what you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what it is, it's a program, and when we designed it for schools, it was it's a 4-part program where we go in and we work with students from the age of 10 and up.
Okay.
Now, have we been asked to do stuff for younger children? Yes. But we feel grade 5 was when kids are really starting to understand and being taught the anatomy of the body and kind of getting into that science space. Okay. Prior to that, if we did do anything with the younger children, it was just formulated a little bit differently, and it wasn't quite a robust program. It was more in the mindfulness breathing, let's do some yoga with them. But for grade 5s, and the other reason too was that's kind of when kids start to get cynical, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
And, you know, at the time, I know Shar's daughter was in grade 5 or approaching grade 5. And, you know, we were starting to see the changes. And so we thought if we can catch them before they, you know, get conditioned too much by society, then, you know, maybe we can help. Maybe we can help before they get to that stage of being
jaded.
Jaded, exactly, right?
It sounds funny when you speak of that, and we're talking about young kids.
But I know.
It happens early.
Yeah. Absolutely, right? So the program is 4 parts. We go in, whether it's we prefer to do it 4 different days, so we can come in and present the information, and we work with first starting with the science, because it's always science-based. So we go in, we talk about the brain, how it works. And again, depending on the audience, we use the right vocabulary so they understand it. And then moving forward, we then, okay, now we provide tools on how you can master your mindset and how you can start to change some of these thoughts that are no longer serving you. And so we talk about gratitude principles and incorporating a gratitude practice. We talk about forgiveness and self-acceptance. We talk about visualization and how important it is to set goals and have dreams and how to build on that. And then we also have the movement component through yoga. And we talk about moving the body and moving the breath and mindfulness principles, formal mindfulness and informal mindfulness principles that they can take with them. So as a whole, they come out with kind of like a tool belt is basically what we wanted to give them.
Okay.
And maybe they'll use all the tools. Maybe they'll just use 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But it was, it's always really, really great to get, because we survey them before and after, and it's really great to get their feedback.
Yeah.
And hear from their teachers too, how great it's been. So from that core program, we've then been asked, sometimes we get asked, you know what, because schools, how they are built and funding and all that stuff, it's sort of like, well, we don't have the funding to do the full program, but can you come in and do like a mini program and do like just more of like a seminar or assembly style and talk about just stress management or talk about just this topic. So we've been able to kind of break it down and customize the program based on
tailor it for each situation.
Exactly. And then gradually it's expanded into high schools through their career development programs. So their co-op programs where they need training in these skills to apply to their career skills, like maybe in leadership or customer service. And so it's really about the emotional intelligence and working from the inside out to develop these career skills for them. Yeah. And then
I think it's
really
amazing.
Just blossomed from there. And then from that, and then, you meet a parent who's like, oh, my child did your program and can you come into our office? We really need this at our office.
Wow.
Sure. So we'll go into the office. And then, so now it's really blossomed into this kind of 3-part, I would say. So we have our schools, we have our corporate, and then we even have a personal private coaching practice.
That's amazing. I think it's amazing what you ladies are doing.
Thank you.
I think it's so important. I've always thought that it's important to ingrain these principles into the kids when they're very young. That way it just becomes second nature for them. So I applaud both of you. I think it's an incredible idea, and I think it's incredible work that you're doing, and it's needed. It's so integrally important, I think. So
I know.
Congratulations
now more than
to
ever.
you both. I think it's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're really happy doing it. Like it really is one of those things that we wake up every morning and are so grateful that we have an opportunity to teach this amazing information.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you both have quite demanding full-time careers of your own. How on earth do you find the time to juggle and work on your side project? I mean, the empowerment project. How do you find the time with your two busy careers to do this as well?
Well, it's so funny that you're saying that, because I know that there's a saying somewhere out there, that says, love what you do and it doesn't feel like you work a day in your life. So that's actually what the Empowerment Project has become for us. And not only because we love what we do, but it's also a part of our daily practice. Like not only for ourselves, but even how we interact with our partners, with our children, with the people around us. I mean, I've been meditating for 25 years.
Right.
And so, again, that's just it's become a part of my life. It's become a very natural part of my life. So for me, it doesn't feel, and Andrea, of course, you might have a different answer to this, but for me, it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything different.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it feels like I am so lucky and so engaged. I get to not only talk about something I'm so passionate about, but I get to apply it in every aspect of my life. So it doesn't actually feel like work.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah. And I think from like a logistical standpoint, to be honest, when we first started, it wasn't intentionally supposed to be a side gig.
Right.
It's like, let's try this out. If we get some business, and we'll kind of work at it that way. And then I would say 2 years ago, the two of us kind of we had that discussion where we're like, we're only going to get out what we put in.
Yeah.
So if we put 10%, we're going to get 10% out.
Right.
So we both agreed that we were willing to release some of our other work to make more space for this, and that we knew organically it would just naturally happen. And eventually we absolutely, like, I would say for me right now, it's probably at about a 70-30.
Oh, wow.
In terms of, because before, when it was like maybe 80-20. But now I would say the Empowerment Project is taking up about 70% of my time, and then my yoga practice and my teaching, it's about 30%, because I've been able to develop the yoga part where I've even been able to outsource as well.
Okay.
So that is kind of running in a different way.
Right.
Because like this is just where I feel like I'll always want to teach and have that instructor area. I mean, I say that now, who knows if it changes, but this is really where our passion has been lying for sure.
Right.
And I know Shar has done the same thing with her chiropractic practice.
Now, speaking of which, have you guys talked about, I'm sure you probably have, but is there any plan to take the Empowerment Project completely full-time and leave your respective careers behind?
Well, I think this kind of echoes what Andrea was saying, the kind of attention and focus that we have put on the Empowerment Project, especially since the pandemic.
Yeah.
It has been like there's far more attention being placed on it. As you know, a lot of my work has been corporate. So a lot of companies have shut down, and I haven't been able to go in. I haven't been able to see my patients. I mean, I have made arrangements now that, private clinics are open, and I'm renting space in private clinics to see my patients. But during the pandemic, that's exactly what Andrea and I did. And I think on purpose, and maybe not even on purpose, we just started creating. And there was this huge reinvention that happened. And this actually became a part of our conversation. Well, maybe if this pandemic didn't happen, we would have just kept going at the pace we were going, doing the yoga, doing the chiropractic. But again, somebody, something, the universe, source, whatever you want to call it, had bigger plans and said, you know what, I need to get you guys, off the grid and into this a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. So we have, like Andrea said, I would probably say I'm at a 70-30 right now. Also, whereas before it was 80% yoga for Andrea, 80% chiropractic. And it was, we were doing very well with the Empowerment Project, with the amount of attention and focus we were putting into it. But this time that we've been granted, which in my eyes has been a huge blessing.
Yeah.
Has really allowed us to see the need for this, not just in the realm of education, but corporately as well. Like the kinds of things that, companies were telling us and how they were suffering. And actually, to be very honest with you, Andrea and I started offering seminars for free to companies.
Wow.
And that was our way of serving. We're like, okay, well, we right now know that we can't do what we need to do. Chiropractic, yoga was, but how can we serve the community? Because they're really suffering. And so Andrea and I were offering seminars for free. And we did free seminars for about 3 months for companies.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What do you think your unique skill set or superpower is that's helped you become successful? Both with your businesses individually and as women. What do you think each of you your unique skill set or superpower is?
Andrea, do you want to go first or should I?
You can go ahead.
Okay. For me, I'm going to say it's perseverance.
Okay.
For me, and again, as an entrepreneur, and you're going to know this too, Brad, just from your own experience, every time you fall, you're the only person that can pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward.
100%. Yeah.
Right. So it's perseverance for me. And I was listening to a conversation, an interview that somebody had with George Ross. If you remember George Ross, he was one of the judges for The Apprentice. And he was saying that success, the equation for success is perseverance, or failure plus perseverance equals success. So for me, that's what I've felt. I might not be where I want to be today, but I know because I pick myself up every day. And again, you're the only driving force, right? You're the only driving. I feel for me, it's exactly that. Like no matter what happens, I'm getting up and I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say, similar to perseverance, I would say commitment and determination.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always really stayed committed to things that I put my mind to.
Yeah.
And, maybe to a fault sometimes, because it's almost like you just have to know when to give up. You know that, okay, maybe that didn't work out and you got to move on. But, yeah, if I put my mind to something, I'm going to stick to it for sure.
Until you get it done.
Yeah, exactly.
If you ladies could go back, would you change anything about how you've done things in your respective paths?
I often say there's no regrets. It's just a learning experience. So I have to say no. No, I wouldn't change. Would I have liked some things to be different? Sure, because it would have been easier, but I don't think we would have learned. I don't think we would have had that learning experience and that growth and that appreciation for when things do go right and they do work out. So yeah, I wouldn't say we would change anything. And Shar would agree, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say the same thing. I think every single stumbling block has been a big marker in our journey and in our growth. And, again, same thing, when you're in it, you'd want it to be really different. But in retrospect, you look back, hindsight is 2020. You look back and you're like, if that didn't happen to me, I would not be here today.
Right.
Like even with the Empowerment Project, I think so much about what my upbringing was like. And there were challenges with my upbringing, just culturally and financially. My parents were immigrants here, but I know that has really helped me gain such an appreciation with respect to where I am now and how we can help people come out of that dark space that they feel like they're in. So I'm quite pleased how things have turned out.
Yeah, I mean, all of our experiences are all pieces in the puzzle that come together to paint this final picture of where we are today. And it's all integral. It's all part of the journey to get where you're going.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What would you say was a turning point in your life, and how did that affect you, for each of you?
So, I mean, for me, I would definitely say it was when I was let go.
Mm-hmm.
I had an earlier turning point when it came to my health in my early 20s when I decided to go to yoga, but I wouldn't say it affected me or changed me more than when I was pushed out of my job. And because what I realized is that we identify with what we do for a living so much and compare it to who we are as a person. So when I was fired, it was like, what am I? Who am I now?
Yeah.
If I can't work there, if I can't say, oh, I work, I'm a marketing executive, like, who am I then?
Mm-hmm.
So it made me have to really dig deep into understanding that, yes, what you do for a living is part of who you are, but it is not everything you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so when people say to me, what do you do for a living? Or what do you do? And it's almost the first question you hear. Like,
yes.
I would struggle with. Yeah.
It's funny.
Right. And I'm sure you kind of find this too. Like when people say, oh, what do you do? And so do you say, like, I'm a photographer, or do you say I run a podcast? Like, it's so it's almost like I had to have like my elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Like so refined to tell people what I did. And because for me to say I'm a yoga instructor is great, but I feel it's so much more than that. And so when I tell people what I do, it's not so much what I do, but like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
And this is what I try to provide to people every day. Mm-hmm. And so that for me was a huge turning point, because I had to make a decision. Am I going to go back? Because I could have easily found another job in marketing. I had a lot of friends and a lot of other companies that I knew well. And, I could have gotten another job, but to have to make that choice to know I'm going to take this opportunity to now shift. And also, from a financial perspective, my husband and I had to talk about it. Like, can we make this work? Mm-hmm. Because I did hold a huge part of the finance. I was making a decent amount of money and all that. So yeah, I think for me that was huge. It was I really had to change my thought patterns and my belief systems, my relationship with money, my relationship with things, and I realized that, when we buy stuff, it's all just stuff.
That's right.
It's just stuff. And
That's it.
Yeah. I used to go into stores and be like, yeah, I want those shoes. I'd buy the shoes. Mm-hmm. But when I had to actually think about it, do I really need that?
Yeah.
I don't need those. So I would walk away. And so perspective really changed a lot when your basic needs are met and there's food on the table, it's wonderful. Mm-hmm. And everything else after that is just stuff.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that was big for me.
Shar?
Yeah, for me, and I tell this story a lot when people ask me this question. And this is something that I am prepared to answer because it is a story I tell a lot. For me, it was the birth of my first child. So she's 16 years old now. So this is 16 years ago when she was born. And, you know, you're pregnant and you enjoy the pregnancy and all this kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, this baby is handed to you. And I remember the first things I said to my child was, my little girl was, you know, I hope you're nothing like me. I hope you, yeah, this is exactly what I said. I hope you're nothing like me. I hope you know that you're smart. I hope you're confident. I hope you have a healthy self-esteem. I hope you know you're beautiful. I hope you know you can be or do or have anything that you want in life. Like literally, this is the first conversation I had with this child when she's just placed on me.
Yeah.
And I remember, and when I tell the story, I start feeling the same feelings I felt 16 years ago when the midwife took her away to weigh her. I actually started panicking because I thought to myself, wow, I wished all these things on my child, but what does it actually mean? Or what does it feel like to be confident or have a healthy self-esteem or to feel smart or beautiful? Like I had no clue. Right. And that was a part of my upbringing. I struggled with a lot of things, you know, with respect to my self-esteem and my confidence and my worth and my value. So I panicked because I thought to myself, this child is doomed. Right. Like, you know, I have nothing to offer her. But it was that point in my life that I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to be better and feel good about who I am, so my child knows how to feel those things too. So that's actually where my journey started, you know, with this whole self-discovery, self-help. I mean, I pretty much had a self-help library in my house because
Wow.
I just wanted to consume as much information as possible on trying to heal myself, so I wouldn't inflict my child with the same issues I had. And, you know, parents do that, right?
Yes.
We often will inflict a lot of our unresolved issues on our children, whether it's stuff that we're, you know, saying to them or we're mimicking things that we saw our parents do. And I just didn't want to be that for my child.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very, very big for me.
Wow. We do, though. We do tend to do that. We put you hear about all these parents that put their failed dreams onto their kids, or like if they wanted to be a pro hockey player or a pro soccer player, they push their kids towards those sports. And I want you to do this, and I want you to, it's something, we just do it. It's not right, but it's just what we do as parents.
And it's what we know.
Yeah.
Right? And this is the whole thing. So again, my turning point was Alicia, and I say, thank God that I had the ability at that point in time to make the decision to do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many people that are still they're not self-aware.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we are just acting out of this old blueprint, this old program that's been created for us.
Mm-hmm.
And as parents, that's what we act out of.
Yeah,
right?
very true.
There's a researcher, Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he has said that 95% of our reactions as adults are actually formulated between the ages of 0 to 7.
Wow.
So we're influenced so much as children between the ages of 0 to 7. And that's simply because children, their brainwaves are much slower. They live in what's called a hypnoidal state, right? So their brainwaves are much slower, just kind of like when you're being induced into hypnosis. Children aren't induced. They naturally live in that slow pattern. So as you know, when you're under hypnosis, you can be convinced to do anything that they tell you to do.
Yeah.
Children naturally live there. So anybody that's around them, any of their influencers, parents, guardians, teachers, siblings, friends, they observe, hear, experience, and create this blueprint and this program that we all have and work off of even as adults.
Wow. That's crazy.
Right?
Crazy. Mm-hmm. How do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
Okay, I'm going to take this one, Andrea, and then I know that you can add to this, but I'm going to be very honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
Culturally, success has always been the numbers in your bank account.
Right.
Okay. So now that's something, again, I struggled with a lot, right? Like just my whole relationship with money, and I'm not successful because I don't have, 6 figures in my account or whatever it is, right? However, through this whole journey, of figuring out who I am, this self-discovery, this self-healing journey, it's for me, and I know for Andrea too, and Andrea, you're going to want to add to this, or I might be stealing something that you said to me, but it's basically aligning our values with our passion, and then and being able to serve humanity with it, like being able to serve and do something good with it. So I find that our values have to match with whatever we are doing, and being of service. Like that's what success is. I know, to me and to Andrea. And Andrea, I'm going to let you take it away from there, because you probably have to add to that.
Yeah, I echo the same thing, and really, I also think it's happiness, right? It's feeling good about who you are, what you're doing, and how you're doing it. Yeah. And that could even be for someone working at Walmart. Like, it doesn't have to mean that you have to be like, creating this program and putting out, all this stuff. Like, whatever you do in your everyday life, whether you go to work, whether you're home with your children, whether you're whatever, an entrepreneur, but it's having a feeling of happiness as often as you can, because I get it, you can't feel happy all the time. Yeah, there are moments of other negative emotions, but yeah, like in general, it's just feeling happy and having our basic necessities met, and then building from there. So
I think having purpose too. Sorry, Brad.
No, it's okay.
I think purpose and intention, that's a big one too, because a lot of people think, oh, if I work at Walmart, I don't have a purpose. Or if I just work in retail, what's my purpose? But your purpose is still serving, right? Like, I think that's what we have to remember. If we know what our purpose is, and we have good intentions behind it, like you're waking up, and my intention today is really to make everybody feel better, after they met me, better, feeling better, after they've had a conversation with me than before they walked into my store, let's say. Like having that intention, I think, is so important too. And that adds to success.
For sure. I would agree with that 100%. What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
For me, and I know, Andrea, I know it's different for you, but for me, it was to let go of things you can't control and not be afraid to feel your emotions. Okay. So, there was a particular situation in my life, and someone that I love very dearly was suffering. And the way things were, the way things occurred, I felt I had a lot of anger inside of me, just as a result of how they were handling things. But I was stuffing those feelings down. I'm like, I have no right to feel anger. Like, they're suffering. Who am I to feel angry? Yeah. And I noticed that was actually causing so much turmoil in myself, right? We are humans here, and we're meant to feel emotions on that whole spectrum, whether it's depression or joy. I mean, we're having this experience. Those emotions are a part of it. And it was this beautiful friend of mine that reminded me that it's okay to feel them. You don't have to hang out with those emotions all day long. But you can embrace them. And then once you understand them, let them go. So for me, it was that.
Okay. Yeah. Andrea?
Yeah. And I would say for me, there's a wonderful quote that says, people will not usually remember what you say to them, but how you make them feel.
Maya Angelou.
Yes, Maya Angelou, exactly. So I think for me, I always witnessed my mother doing that for people. And she always has such a beautiful relationship with everyone she meets. I'm talking about her esthetician and her massage therapist and her Spanish teacher and her cleaning lady. Like they become family to her.
Yeah.
And she'd often joke around and say, why do people talk to me in the grocery store like I'm their best friend? And I said, but that's what you put out there. So I always wanted to emulate that because it's not so much receiving advice per se, but it's knowing how to represent yourself in society and with people. And so I often try to do that, and that hopefully when they leave my presence, and even if it is just for 2 seconds at the grocery store, they leave feeling better about themselves or just wanting to do better or whatever that is. And I get it. It's not going to be like that with every interaction, but I just really try my best to do that and to remember that it's really how you're making others feel. And also when I don't really react well, and I probably am not putting my best foot forward, that I realize that that ripple effect is happening, and I have to be very conscious of that.
Yeah, sure.
And
it's not always easy to do that, though.
Oh gosh, no. I mean, I often tell the story about how I started to consciously be aware of when I honk my horn, right? Like when you're driving, and how often, like what that makes people feel when they hear a horn honk. And it's like that instant, like, oh, and I say that because in North America, it's felt that way. You go to Europe and they honk horns all the time. And it's actually part of their road etiquette. Yeah, it's like they have to. If you don't honk your horn, then But you go up here. So I actually consciously started to think about, okay, if I'm at a red light and it turns green, the person in front of me doesn't go yet, why do I have to honk my horn? Like that's just going to make them, that's going to startle them. It's going to agitate them. And then they're going to move on. And who knows, maybe they're going to honk at someone else or cut someone off or whatever. And it could be minor, it could be major, but even just making those small changes in understanding how my actions really affect others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes you feel inspired or like your best self?
I know for me, it's just when I'm living on purpose, for purpose, and just sharing my gifts in any way possible. Like being in front of people, talking to them, being in front of students, being with my kids and really seeing them flourish, because you really start to see yourself in your little people around you. So I think that's what really inspires me. And, listening to a great podcast, this one's going to be great. Reading a great book, speaking to my friends that just are so in alignment with me. That's when I feel I'm at my best.
Okay. And Shar?
And for me, it's authenticity. Like just for me to be authentic at all times and vulnerable. I think it's really important for me to be able to be that way, because not only do I find it liberating, like for my own self, that, there's nothing that's holding me back from being vulnerable and real and raw, but I feel like it also gives permission to other people, for other people to do exactly the same thing, because unfortunately a lot of people don't feel like they can be that way because they're going to be judged or whatever. But for me, it's about just being raw, being real, authentic, vulnerable, being able to share yourself in a way that gives people a permission to do the same with themselves.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to cut you off there, Andrea. I just realized when I went to say Shar, you weren't finished yet.
No, don't worry.
My apologies. No, who would you say have been the 3 most influential people in your lives?
Okay, I'll start with this one, because I know this one, there's been lots of wonderful people in my life, but I'm going to say my 3 kids. Yeah. Because my first set me on the journey. She set me straight and said, listen, you're going on this healing journey, because I'm not going to grow up with your baggage. Then my second one, who is identical to me. I mean, I'm talking, she looks like me, she behaves like me, she has a mouth on her like me, but she really forced me to explore a lot of my inner child. So there was a lot of healing that I needed to do, like deeper work that I needed to do. And she's the one that made me do it. Look at myself in the mirror and like really and forcefully do the work. And then my third, who is my joy, like, and not that my other two are not joy, but he represents the fruit of my hard work. I see that in him. So he's made me feel like I've done some good. Like I've actually done the work that I need to do. And I've been able to create this child that, I mean, of course it takes two, right? But for me to take this child and really see some of the fruits of my own hard labor, and I see them in him. So they've really all affected me in that regard.
Okay. Andrea?
I mean, there's so many people who've influenced me, but I definitely say my mom for sure. And as for reasons I mentioned before, but her for sure. My children, if I can categorize them into one group, but watching them and really having to be aware of my actions and my words around them, because of how influenced they are by me. And my husband as well, because he is very different than me. And we, they say opposites attract, but I feel that he's helped me to know when I'm being tested and almost put those tests in front of me so that I can continue to grow and continue to stay committed to who I want to be. And has it been frustrating? Of course, but just always a learning process. So definitely those three, amongst many others. I mean, I've had some amazing bosses that have really, shown me some great leadership skills, and but those I'll stick to those.
What does the word empowerment mean to you, ladies?
Andrea?
Well, it means to feel powerful in your mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
I would say that would be my best definition. Shar, would you?
Yeah, I would say the confidence and to have the inner strength and wisdom to be exactly who you are supposed to be, right?
Love it.
Not be afraid of what other people expect of you, but just to be who you know that you're supposed to be.
Okay. What is one of your favorite quotes for each of you?
So we've already mentioned one of them.
Yeah,
my favorite, Maya Angelou. Yeah, people won't remember what you say to them, but they'll always remember the way that you made them feel. And I live my life like that every day.
Okay.
I live my life like that every single day. And again, we mentioned earlier, like I want to leave people better.
Yes.
When they first came in front of me, whether it's a smile, a hug, a word, whatever it is, but just leave them off a little better and they'll never forget.
Okay. And there's been one recently that we've been saying often because it's just needed to be said sometimes. But it's a quote by Nelson Mandela, and he says that resentment is like drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die.
I like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and it's a tough pill to swallow, right?
Yeah.
Because when we need to, and this is around the discussion of forgiveness, right? And so we so often just want to not forgive and hold on to that grudge and hold on to that resentment when really it's you that's dying inside.
Yeah.
So I've said it to a few people in the last little while and they've just been like, wow, okay, I get that. So that
resonates. I love it.
Yeah.
What makes you smile?
Oh, lots of stuff. The sunshine, my kids.
Yeah, soulful conversation. Soulful, like deep soulful conversation when you can just sit with someone and you see nothing but their soul coming through. Like that for me is magical. Like I could just be immersed in that all day long. And it could be with anybody. It could be with one of my kids. It could be with a friend. It could be with my mom. But just that soulful conversation where you know that the armor's been taken off.
Yeah. It's a connection on another level.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I'm smiling about it, just talking about it.
How would you describe yourself in one word?
I'm going to say committed. Committed.
Okay, so I would say kind.
Okay.
Although if I had a choice of being in this space all the time, it would be love. Like I would love to be just that love that people need and need to feel all the time. I'm not there yet, but it's where I'd love to go.
You'll get there. You'll get there. Money or fame?
Money. Yeah. So
that was pretty easy.
Yeah.
But you know what? There's a reason behind that. So we were thinking about fame. And so this is a conversation again that Andrea and I had when we were debating this. And with if you have a lot of money, you can do a lot of good with it. You can do a lot of good with it, but it doesn't have to be something that people know you have. Like you can do it very secretly, very anonymously.
Yes.
But with fame, I think there's a little ego that comes in. That's what I think, right? Like with the fame, you can do a lot of good with it, but then the ego is fed constantly too.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So anyways, that was just sort of my take on it. Andrea,
makes sense.
Yeah, no, we agreed on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Early bird or night owl?
I'm an early bird.
I'm a night owl.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to be an early bird.
I'm trying very hard.
I'm really trying because I know the benefits. And I know when I do get up early, as much as my body fights it, I do feel better for sure. And when I go to bed earlier, but it's a work in progress for sure.
Well, I applaud your efforts.
Thank you.
If you were stranded on a deserted island and could only have one item, what would it be?
Shar, you want to go or you want me to start?
Well, mine's, I don't know. Am I allowed? Okay. So it's
one thing.
Yeah,
one, only one.
So I was thinking about this, right? I'm like, okay, how do I make this sound like one thing? For me, it would be a library. Was that considered one item?
Well, it is one item with a lot of items in it.
I love reading.
Okay.
It's like my favorite place to be lost in a book, whether it's a self-help book or whether, fiction, nonfiction, it doesn't matter, but just being lost in books is a really big thing for me. So if I can say a library.
Sure. We'll allow it.
You allow it. Thank you.
Andrea? Well, I'm going to be 21st century about it and say my phone. It just has everything on it. I could read a book if I wanted to.
You could. Absolutely.
I could take some beautiful photos of this beautiful island I'm on. You
could potentially access a library.
Exactly. But I'd have to have Wi-Fi. But no, I mean, I'm very aware of how useful these little things in our hands are. But I do know that there is an addictive quality to them. And I am becoming more aware of that more and more, but I do think that it is the one thing that I know it's the one thing I don't leave the house without. Like I'll leave the house without my wallet. But
have you ladies seen The Social Dilemma yet?
Yes. Yeah.
It's on my list of things to watch.
That's a very scary documentary.
I know. And you know what? And that's what's kind of heightened my awareness with my message for sure. Yeah. And my kids. Oh my God.
Yes, for sure.
Yes.
If you could eat only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Okay, we both have.
You ready, Shar?
Yeah, let's say it. Pizza.
All right.
But that means I would have to. My lactose intolerance would no longer exist.
Right.
But you can do so much with pizza, right? Like you can make it with no cheese. You can put veggies. You can make it savory or sweet or.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
Pizza's great.
I've even had like an Indian style pizza where they use Indian cheeses and Indian spices, and it's amazing.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How would you like to be remembered?
I would probably say for me the same thing that I said earlier today is that she always made people feel better about themselves when she, like, when they came in contact with her than before they came in contact. But like, just to always leave them with a feeling of love.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I think I want to be remembered as someone who was inspiring and authentic.
Okay.
Yeah. As well as what Shar said.
If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
For me, it would be not to worry, because everything that happens is for your higher purpose.
Okay.
Everything that happens is for your self-discovery and for your journey to be better. So I would say that.
Okay. Andrea?
I would say to be true to who you really are and don't worry about what people think. Because I know when I was a kid, it was really about that.
I think it is for most kids.
Yeah. And not in a way where you are unkind and, don't listen to and don't respect people.
Yeah. But
be true to your inner voice and your intuition, and don't wrap yourself up in all of these labels and expectations. I would definitely let her know that.
And lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, what do you think that last 30 seconds would sound like?
Andrea, I'm going to let you go first.
Oh gosh. Okay.
It doesn't have to be 30 seconds. It can be shorter if
no pressure. I think I would tell everyone that to keep having faith, that there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, but there's always light at the end of the tunnel. And it is the cracks in ourselves that shine that light through. So keep getting up every morning, being grateful for what you have and taking the steps forward to just continue to be better and to spread love. Okay. Mic drop. See you later.
Mic drop. Boom. I'm out.
Boom. I'm going to the other side.
That's it.
So I would probably say something very similar, but mine's going to be really short. I would basically say to love one another, to love one another wholeheartedly, because we're all the same. We're all of the human race, and it is love that will raise our consciousness. It's our love that will bring the collective closer together. I would say that's what I would say.
It always comes back to love, and it always starts with self-love.
Yes. Exactly.
100%.
And that's what the Empowerment Project is all about.
Beautiful.
You've summed it up, Brad.
Well, ladies, thank you so very much for being here. It has been a blast. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking with both of you. I appreciate your insights and you sharing your story and your stories, your individual stories, and your journey together as well. I wish you all the luck in the world with the Empowerment Project. I'm sure it's going to continue to rise and be amazing. And I just really appreciate you ladies taking the time to spend with me and be part of this community that I'm creating and agreeing to be part of the podcast. It's been so much fun chatting with you. And I know it's been a long time coming, and I've thoroughly enjoyed our conversation today.
Good. Well, thank you so much for having us. I mean, we were honored to be selected to be a part of this, because I know with what you're doing, Brad, it's beautiful. The work you're doing, the kind of information that you want to share with the world, even your whole mission, it's beautiful. So we feel honored to be a part of it.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much for having us. And allowing us to be part of this beautiful community.
Well, thank you for the kind words. And honestly, the honor is all mine. I don't look at this as you women being honored by being part of it. I'm honored that you want to be part of the community and help me grow this movement. So the honor is all bestowed onto me. I'm very honored that you wanted to be part of it. So thank you again, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of the Empowerography podcast. Today, my guests have been Dr. Shar Ray, and Andrea Bosco. Thank you very much, ladies. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and we'll talk soon.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.